Hey, everyone out there. Welcome to our first stream. We are Argonauts Awoken. I am Mr. DMD, your DM or Dungeon Master, and I'm excited to share our story with you. But before we do, we want to share a few things about our game and our world with all of you out there watching us. I'm going to let our players introduce themselves and a little bit about our game. I'm going to throw it right over to our first player, to Stevie.
Hi, I play Stevie Blackwell. She's a timid yet determined 14-year-old musician and computer whiz with quite the Tumblr following. And I'd like to share a bit about who we are. We're a group of high school students that are all a part of our school's drama club. Next.
I play Luke. He's 16 years old. He's a lovable, energetic jock that can pack a punch, but he's not the smartest cookie in the jar. We're here to play our Dungeons and Dragons game so that we can create a sort of art during this time where our theater and many others are shut down.
Hi, I play Alaya, a smart-mouthed 15-year-old who steals to support his family. The game we are playing will be a highly modified version of the 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry, as several of our players are learning too.
I play Moon, your typical independent teenager with a tragic backstory. In our game, we are also not playing the traditional Dungeons and Dragons. While we will include all the trappings of the D&D, our game world is a version of the modern 20th century.
Hi, I play Zamora, a cheeky, laid-back orphan who lives life by borrowing from the rich in order to give back to herself and the other kids in her group home. In our world, what Mr. DMD has called the Awakening Universe, everything we know as fantasy fiction, gods, dragons, goblins, and magic all existed long ago and are starting to come back.
Hey, I'm Luna. I live in San Francisco and I love baking. The color pink, poofy dresses, and punching climate deniers. As magical things start to come back to our world as we know it, there are people dedicated to keeping the world safe while trying to keep the rest of the world unaware of magic and everywhere else.
Thank you all. Today we start with an introduction to all of our characters, and they will take their first steps into the world of the Awakening. So let's begin. It is the end of the summer of 2012. The London Olympics are just beginning. The Dark Knight Rises is the #1 movie at the box office for the 3rd week in a row. And on the radio, Call Me Maybe is still #1 on the Billboard charts. We start with Alaya. As he walks down the streets of Boston, the summer sun beating down an oppressive heat, he ducks into a nearby alley. The stench of dumpsters fills the air. As you search, Alaya, the narrow space between the buildings for someone. After a few near vomit-inducing breaths, you find her. Carly, your longtime homeless friend that you spent many hours roaming these back alleys with. She pops her head out of a nearby dumpster. And you watch as she takes a crumpled paper bag and pulls out of it a perfectly good, shiny apple. Crazy rich people throwing away good food, she says as she bites into the apple and holding it in her mouth, pulls herself out of the dumpster. How's tricks, Allie?
Hey, Carly. Oh, man, can I get a bite of that apple? I've been craving something for a while now.
She finishes climbing out of the dumpster, finishes her bite, and hands over the apple that's got one fresh bite taken out of it to you.
I take a bite out of the apple and I hand it back to her and let her finish the rest.
She continues eating it as she makes her way over to her shopping cart. It's filled with cans and bottles that you know most likely has been pulled out of the nearby recycling bins. Hey, some Mexican ladies have been asking about you.
About me?
Yeah, I saw Aaron this morning. He said she offered him a 10 spot for info on you.
Where can I find him?
She's looking for you. Double A, he wouldn't sell you out. You're one of ours, she says. She tosses Tousles your hair a little with that dumpster grime still lingering on her hands, and it causes your hair to feel a little more greasy and give off a slight smell.
Ugh. All right. So where are they? Where can I find this person?
I know Erin said she'd find you. I was just about to head out to Fenway, do a little work, but with you along, and she gives you a mischievous look, and you recognize that that's her plotting face. She says, you want to run a Robin Hood?
Oh, yeah. Let's run a little Robin Hood.
You instantly recognize this typical pickpocketing maneuver that the two of you like to run, and begin to head out to Fenway Park. After about 30 minutes of walking through the streets of Boston, pushing past people and bumping into people, you come to the ballpark. It is bustling. There's a game already going, and people are moving about, pushing. There's buskers on the street. There's more homeless people you recognize as you walk by them, trying to make a buck or two here or there. And Carly points out a spot against a wall where no one's standing and heads over. She parks her cart and pulls out a worn cardboard sign that says requests $1. And then she rummages in her cart, moving some cans and bottles around, and pulls out a beat up old ukulele. And she sits down next to it and she tells you, hey, you know how this works. Go blend in.
All right.
Wait. When I find a mark, I'll start playing.
Gotcha.
So about 5 minutes go by, and a woman in dark black jeans and black combat boots walks up. She's wearing an AC/DC t-shirt with the sleeves ripped off, and she approaches to Carly. You watch as Carly and her begin to have a conversation. The woman has soft brown colored skin and dark black hair held in a loose braid. She pulls a wallet out of her pocket, and you notice that while she may be wearing many different chains and belts and bracelets, her wallet isn't attached to anything. She slips it into her back pocket, and you mark her for an easy target. As the woman begins to step away, Carly starts to play a version of Pink Floyd's Money on her ukulele, which you know is the sign that the woman she just spoke to is a perfect mark. What do?
I'm going to wait until Carly hits the chorus, and then when I guess the woman's excitement is most, I'm going to try to walk over to her, maybe bump into her on accident, and slip a wallet out of that back pocket.
All right. So Carly's playing for a few minutes, and just about as she's approaching the chorus, this woman starts to move back into the crowd. Are you going to follow her?
I'm going to follow her, but I'm going to try to be very discreet.
Perfect. So you approach her, moving through the crowd very smoothly, and you get about a half a block away from Carly when you mark your moment. It's the perfect moment to try and take her wallet. Go ahead and roll me a sleight of hand check to try and steal that wallet.
All right. Oh boy, this isn't going to be good. 5.
As you begin to reach out for it without looking, the woman reaches down, grabs your wrist, and before she turns around, she says, I knew if I just gave it enough time, you'd find me.
Wait, are you the one who was asking for me?
As you say this, she pulls you into a nearby doorway, not the actual door, but an alcove in front of the door. The business that you're standing in front of is closed. And you notice some things about her beyond what you've already noticed. She's got several silver necklaces and chains that she's wearing in the front. She really does look like the kind of picture of a punk rock star right now. But there's one that stands out. She wears a golden necklace, and it has a green crystal on it, and it seems to kind of glow with its own internal golden light. It looks wrong as part of her aesthetic. And as you both get out of the flow of traffic, she says, yeah, I'm the one who was looking for you. My name's Jade.
Hi, Jade. What's with the necklace?
It's just a piece of jewelry. It's a hand-me-down from a friend of mine. So I teach at a school in California, and we've had our eyes on you for a while.
California? What? You're not thinking of sending me all the way out there?
Let me hear me out for a second. Elia, you may not know it yet or even fully understand it. Lord knows I didn't. But the world is bigger and stranger than you've ever known. I'm here to offer you an opportunity to apply to our school. It's a school for people like you, people that are special, that have unique skills. She says as she holds out her wallet. We, the teachers, choose students that we think have potential to do great things should their full abilities be awoken in them.
Special. Sorry, I don't think I'm the guy you're looking for. You might be looking for my brother, Arthur. He's really got it all. I think he's got the smarts. He's got the smarts of more than me, and he's only 9. Are you sure you're looking for the right guy?
Arthur's pretty typical. You're a little atypical. It's not every day a high school student or potential high school student roams around with a pack of homeless people helping them make money. I mean, that's a pretty heroic act, if you ask me.
Heroic? Well, I mean, I take my share. But explain to me why exactly that's special in any way. There are plenty of people. Why don't you just go down to the homeless shelter and grab someone from there? They're doing great.
There's a few other things. And as she says this, she points up to the street sign just a little down the block. It's about 20, 30 feet away. And sitting on the street sign is a crow. You recognize this crow. This crow has a name, doesn't it, Elia?
Mm-hmm. Amelia.
Amelia sits on the top of this street sign watching you. And you instantly recognize her. You've known her for a long time. Her slightly battered wing, the gentle scar over her right eye that has healed well since you saved her. And Jade points out to the crow and says, yeah, but not every pickpocket has a crow watching over them.
How did you know I had that crow?
Let's say I've done my research. We've learned a lot about you. There's a few other things we know. We've kept our eye on you. We have abilities to follow, to watch, to learn about those who may work well for our school. And like I said, we've had our eye on you.
So you are with the government.
Oh,
all right, I'm out. I can't.
No. Wait. We're definitely not with the government. The government wishes we were with them, but we're not with the government. We're private. We're independent. Some of us join the government after we're done, but we're definitely not with the government now.
Okay. I beckon Amelia to come over and sit on my shoulder. Tell me more about this school.
Well, we're based out of California in the Tahoe region, and we search for students who we think could achieve great things. And based on what we've learned about you, I think you would be perfect for one of my selections for the year.
All right. What's in it for me? How much do I got to pay?
It's completely free. We see educating you as an opportunity to better the world through what you could do. And so we want you to come to us. You don't have to pay anything. We will cover your travel to California. Really, it's an opportunity for you to come out, take a look at the school, see if it's going to be a good fit, learn a little bit more about yourself, about the world, and then decide. If you're interested, you can come with me now. And she pulls out of her wallet that you almost stole, a small black business card, solid black. On it is a phone number written in white printing. She says, call this number before noon tomorrow, and a car will be sent with you if you decide not to come with me now.
I take the card. I think I'll make up my mind by tomorrow. I better ask my mom.
One thing that you should know, should you choose not to come with us, you won't remember any of this conversation.
Understood. And then I walk away. Back to Carly, I guess.
As you begin to walk away, you turn back and look back at her, and she begins to do the same and drift into the crowd, in which she's about 5 feet away from you. She stops and she says, Alaya,
Yeah, what?
you might be needing this. And she tosses a object at you. Your eyes follow it and you easily catch it. Looking down, you see you're holding your own wallet.
Oh, you sneaky.
When you look back up to see her, she's gone. The crowd has absorbed her. As you watch the crowd move, your pet crow shifts a little on your shoulder, lifts his wings or her wings, and flies up, seeming to kind of drift over the crowd and search for your newfound acquaintance. What do you do?
I'll allow the bird to just search, but I think I'm just gonna go back to Carly and try to ask her what the heck this is all about.
As you speak to Carly, she has been playing the ukulele the entire time, hasn't stopped, and she looks at you. She says, "Hey, did you get anything off that mark?"
No. She actually stole my wallet, but it doesn't matter. She gave me this business card, and she said that she was actually the one that was looking for me. Do you know what this is?
Carly takes a look at the business card, looks at the phone number on it. She says, I don't know much, but I think that phone number is a California number. It looks like an area code I recognized from when I worked in an office building.
Yeah, she said she wanted to invite me to a school over in Cali.
Hey, that's not a bad trip. You can get out of town for a while, maybe, make it on your own, get out of your brother's shadow.
Could be worth it. She always said I could leave whenever I want, but she was acting really weird about it.
You know how these elites are with their special schools. They're a little shady, but in the end, the rich people, what are they going to do? What's the worst that could happen?
It's free too, so.
How are you going to say no to a free school, kid?
I know, but it just, it won't feel right if I don't ask my mom.
I get that. You should run home then. Ask Ma. Maybe get to packing.
All right. Thanks, Carly. Sorry about the wallet. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time, kid. And Carly sits down, begins to play her ukulele again. As you walk away.
Yes.
Wonderful. As Zamora as Alaya continues to head through the crowd, we pull out from the city of Boston and fly all the way across the country to a small home in San Francisco, where Zamora is approaching her house. Zamora, if you would, describe yourself.
I'm wearing a beat up white shirt, super old. It's a Tupac shirt from his first album with really baggy jeans. My shoes have holes in them as I'm walking through the alley. I have my hair up in a messy and my hoops in my ears.
Awesome. Thank you, Zamora. And so, sorry, I lost my screen there for a second. You approach the steps up to your front door, and you step through the door into your small home. And like always, the screen door slams behind you, signaling that you are home to everyone in the house. You hear laughing coming from the small living room to your right, just off the hallway. Your siblings are clearly watching some sort of cartoons or something in the room. And before you can go in to set your foster siblings starting their homework, you hear the familiar voice of Raven in the kitchen, who calls out, "Z, is that you? Come in here."
Yeah, it's me coming. I take off my shoes at the doorway before I go in.
You walk down the hall with its threadbare carpet and paint peeling off the walls where it hasn't been drawn on by your little sisters, and you find Ray sitting at this small hand-me-down wooden dining table in the kitchen. She sits with her usual afternoon cup of coffee in front of her, steam still rising up from it. Across from an empty chair with a cup of its own, she gestures to the chair across from her. Sit down, Z. We need to talk.
Am I in trouble?
No. As you look at her, you can see that she looks tired, and more than just the usual tired that she carries around as the social worker and head of this house for girls. She's hunched over her coffee like it's a huge weight is on her shoulders.
You need me to do the dishes tonight? You seem stressed.
It's more than that. It's complicated. This came for you today. And she pulls out a small envelope where it was on her lap and slides it across the table to you.
I pick it up and kind of examine it. What is this?
You look at it, and it's a white envelope with no address on it. Just your full formal name written in a blocky typed font. Do you open it?
I do. I rip it open very messily.
Inside it is a small, solid black card with white lettering that says, "It is time. Send her to be tested. The school awaits her answer." And as you read this,
I kind of look at it.
Go ahead.
I kind of look at it and laugh and just like, what school?
I wish I had more time to explain. I was supposed to have more time. There's just so much to try to tell you. She's stumbling over her words now, and you can hear the children in the other room laughing and the sounds of some cartoon creature chittering through the walls. She takes a breath and she says, "You are special."
Yeah, whatever.
It's more than that. It's more than just a goofy thing that a social worker says to their kid. You are truly special. I knew your parents. I know your parents, and they are very special too.
Excuse me? You told me, for 15 years of my life, you've told me you don't know who my parents are. You told me you don't know where they are. But all of a sudden,
I am sorry I had to lie to you about that, but let me explain some things that will hopefully put that into some perspective. Your parents do something very dangerous, and I am not allowed to tell you about it right now, but I was tasked with keeping you safe and making sure that you had the opportunity to reach today. You see, there's a school in Tahoe that teaches people like you to unlock their powers and awaken their truest selves.
funny joke. Funny joke, truly. Good night.
Wait, Zamora, think about it. You've seen some things that support what I said. Remember what happened with the principal a few years ago?
That has nothing to do with my parents.
It doesn't, but it has something to do with what I'm telling you about. And you see her stumble for a word that she clearly wants to say, but feels like she shouldn't say. And she says, "For magic."
Do you think I'm 5? Magic? Really? Ray, this is some sort of joke.
Zamora, you saw what happened that day. That principal was ready to expel you. And what did I do?
Honestly, I don't know what you did, okay? You told me never to speak of it again, so how am I supposed to know?
And you did well, because I could have gotten in big trouble for what I did. I told him directly, and you saw it. You heard it. I said, "You're not going to expel her." And he didn't. And you've been in that school ever since. That was magic.
No. Good night. I turn around and try to storm up to my room.
She lets you go. You go upstairs and you're in your room. And about an hour later, you hear a gentle knock on the door. And Ray has always had a specific way that she knocked that you knew it was her. And she does this knock and you hear it and you know instantly that that's her on the other side of the door. How do you react?
Go away. I don't want to talk to you right now.
She says, fine, you don't have to talk to me, but I have to tell you what I have to tell you. So all I ask is that you listen. And she says, I can't say more about your parents. They wanted you to have a choice. And the only way for that to happen was for you to grow up away from them. It tore them apart to leave you. And the only solace they took was that I was watching over you. You hear her shift on the Go ahead.
I don't know why you're telling me all of this now, all of a sudden.
It's because of the envelope. You have a choice to make. I can't tell you anymore specifically, but you can go to that school and you can take their test. And if you are accepted, you would learn amazing things there. This choice is yours. You can stay here too. And if you do, you will forget this ever happened. The letter, this conversation, the revelations that I've given you today, you'll wake up tomorrow and you'll think they're only a dream. And
I'll think about it.
As you say that, you think back to the way Ray was sitting before you walked away from her. And you realize something that has always been scratching at the back of your head. There was something weird about how she dressed. She dressed very fitting of her station, of the money you know she doesn't make. But she's always worn a ring that you never really noticed. It always just seemed like a weird kind of ring. But you recall now as you think about it, this ring, simple golden ring today, you caught a better look at it after all these years, and you noticed that it had a green crystal on it, and that crystal was glowing with a gentle golden light. As you're thinking about this moment, you hear a loud honking come from outside the house. And you hear Ray say, okay, listen. That honk, it's your ride. If you want to go now, if you want to get away, you can go right out there now. It'll take you to the school. You can go try it out. You can pack it if you want to go. You can give your car to the driver. They'll take you. I also know that you have until noon tomorrow to make your decision. You hear her on the other side shift and shuffle a little. And she says, I'll be downstairs in the kitchen if you want to talk. And you hear her footsteps on the hardwood floors as she walks away and down the stairs.
I grab my pillow and I just, with everything in my body, just scream into it, just super loudly, and I just throw it out the door.
You do just that. Do you have anything you want to do before we leave this scene with you in your room?
No.
Okay. We slowly pan out away from Zamora's closed door that the pillow has just hit, down the stairs outside to where a black town car is sitting. And the driver has gotten out and is standing very patiently waiting, the trunk open next to it. And he stands there for a little while and doesn't show any sign of leaving. The sun is beginning to set further now in the evening, and we follow the car as it starts to drive away. A few hours later, it drives through the cities and by the streets and alleys of San Francisco, headed toward the freeway, and it passes the San Francisco courthouse, where a group of people is in strong protest of something going on in the city. And standing there with a hand-printed sign stands Luna. Luna, if you would describe yourself.
I am an extremely tiny little girl, but I'm not little. I don't want to. Nobody calls me little here. I am 14 years old, and I have long brown hair with kind of pink tips, and I'm wearing this pink poofy dress and a gigantic bow in my hair, and I'm screaming at people.
Luna, you've been protesting as part of this protest for the last few hours. What are you protesting right now?
So these people have been there's this law that our city is trying to pass that threatens our oceans, and I must stop it. We save the turtles.
You've been protesting for a few hours next to a woman who appears to be in her late 20s, dressed in hiking shorts, a white blousey t-shirt, and a red flannel. Her dark hair is pulled back through the back of a baseball cap, and the cap has a logo on it for a ski resort that you don't recognize the name of at all. And over time, the protests, you've learned that she's a proud member of a native tribe who joined the protest because of her strong belief in protecting the environment also. And at this point in the night, in the evening, the courthouse is starting to shut down for the day, and the sun is further setting, shining a beautiful amber light across the city of San Francisco and the skyline. As you begin to pack up your things, your newfound friend approaches you and leans against her own sign. Hey, Luna, you got a moment?
Yeah, sure.
So I was really impressed with your energy today.
Thanks.
You don't see kids your age usually get that excited about protesting for the environment.
Well, that's because kids my age never care about anything.
Well, I think that might be a slightly negative view, but I got an idea. You see, I teach at this really special school up in Lake Tahoe, and honestly, after spending the time I spent with you today, I think you'd be a great fit.
Okay, well, I really look up to this lady, and honestly, I'm wondering if she listens to a certain girl in red, but I don't know. I kind of look at her and I'm like, what do you mean?
So
Feels a little weird.
I know it's a little weird to be approached by someone you've only known for a little while, but let me tell you, this school, it's for special people, and they're all handpicked by the teachers. And I just have this great sense of potential in you, just from your passion and what we've talked about today. And what I do at this school is, for lack of a better way of putting it, I help teach our students to heal the world and go off and do great things.
Heal the world? Like environmentally? Environmentally,
there are some that go off to try to do it through political means. There's so many ways that we can affect and better the world that I just do my best to try and give my students the tools they need to be, it's going to sound trite and cliched, but to be heroes.
Oof. Wow, this sounds very interesting, but there's only one issue that I see here. Wait, and I kind of look at her and I'm like, wait, you said it was where? Lake Tahoe?
Yeah, it's in Lake Tahoe. It's a ways away. Think of it a little bit like a boarding school.
Oh, see, I don't know if I can leave my family. I have 3 brothers. I have to take care of all of them on my own. I mean, Roman is growing maybe old enough to take care of himself, but I'm not sure.
As you're talking about your brothers, she's nodding, and as she nods, you notice that for the first time today that she wears a very simple pair of earrings. They're gold studs, and in them is a very small green crystal. And you can't quite believe that you're seeing what you think you're seeing. You think maybe it's a trick of the setting sun or something, but the inside of this crystal seems to kind of glow with a gentle, warm, golden light. She says, I understand your concern for your family. You talked a lot about them today. And I would understand if you want to stay here and give up this opportunity. But I also think that it would be an opportunity for you to do much more and for the world by simply stepping away from your family and letting them take care of themselves for a little while. I know you've been doing it for them for so long.
I don't know. I don't even know if they'll let me. I'll think about it.
She nods and you kind of stand there for a moment. She says, you don't have to decide now. It is important that you decide soon. There's a kind of introduction to the school that's happening late tomorrow afternoon, and we need to make sure that all of our potential candidates are on campus. Now, going to this does not mean you're committing to the school. Think of it like taking a college tour. I'm sure you've heard about high school students doing that. You would come to the campus, you could learn about the school, a little bit about what we do, take our placement test, see how well you score if you like it, and then you can choose to decide if you want to stay from there.
Oh wow. Tomorrow?
I understand it's last minute, but this is kind of how we work, unfortunately.
Ooh. Okay. I'll think about it.
Okay. As you start to go your separate ways, she stops. She goes, I always do this. I always forget. She turns around. She pulls out of the back pocket of her shorts this small, solid black business card with white block lettering on it. And it's very simply a phone number. That's the only thing on it. And she hands it to you and she says, I know you need time to think, so I'm not going to expect you to come with me. But if you call this number when you make your decision, either way, we'll either send a car for you or will you take you off of our list.
Oh, okay.
She says, whatever you decide, I hope to see you at school because I think you'd be perfect. But I also know that just from meeting you today, you're going to do great things, Luna.
This makes me uncomfortable. Thank you.
You watch as she walks away and gets up. She gets into an old beat up Ford F-150 pickup truck. The tailgate's off of it. It's got rust on the bumper. It looks like it's been around for a really long time. And on the bumper, in the one spot where it's not rusted, is a Keep Tahoe blue bumper sticker.
I approve.
Instantly recognized, yeah. And she begins to drive away. What do you do?
I start to go home, I guess. I'm going to prepare for an interesting discussion with my father when he gets home in a few hours.
How do you go home? Do you walk, take the bus?
Yeah, I usually use local transportation or I walk. I'm walking.
So you walk towards the bus stop and you stand with several other protesters. There's a general energy of not necessarily winning. You don't win a protester, but they feel like they at least got out and had their voices heard today. There's definitely not a defeatist energy amongst this crowd. I'm going to ride that energy onto the bus. And after about 15 minutes riding the bus, you arrive at your stop. And you have a rather uneventful walk through the gentle evening breeze of the San Francisco hills to your home, where your entire family at this point is out and about doing their evening routines and activities. What do you do when you walk in the door?
Whoa, this is shocking. It usually takes me a long time to get my brothers into their routine. I kind of stare at them in shock for a moment. And I'm like, wow, you're on task.
Yeah, your oldest brother, who's younger than you still, though, correct me,
Yes.
seems to kind of be leading them all. Like he's found this newfound energy to take the control and take the reins and kind of emulate all of the things he's seen you do over the years. And in fact, as you watch him, he's doing a few of those kind of techniques you've used to guide your brothers, and you recognize them instantly.
Oh, I almost want to cry, but that's embarrassing, especially in front of my brothers. They will never let me live that down. I don't want to interrupt them. I just kind of watch, and then I kind of pull Roman aside, and I'm like, "Thank you."
He says, "Hey, I figured it was about time I started, pulling my weight too."
I'm trying to compose myself, and I'm like, "Yes, it is," because I might be leaving. Then what are you gonna do?
And when you say that, you see him get a little sad, but then he kind of perks up and he says, "Leaving like for something good?
Yeah.
Well, you should talk to Dad then."
Yeah.
Now tell me, your dad, does he normally come home early? Is he normally home late? What's
He
that
comes
experience
home
like?
late.
And so when he mentions Dad, you get the idea. You kind of assume when Dad gets home, and he turns around, he runs down the hall away from you. He says, Dad, Luna's got something to talk to you about."
What? I thought he wouldn't be here for like hours. I kind of run after him.
And you follow your brother into the kitchen where your dad is actually making dinner. You haven't seen him do this in a very long time.
Because I usually cook, because he sucks.
He does. In fact, from the smell coming out of the oven, it's probably not going to be the best dinner. But he's trying. What do you say?
I'm kind of like, how'd you get home so early?
He said, "Well, I didn't want to tell you about it because it was, so up in the air, and I didn't think I was going to get it, but I got a promotion."
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how I got it or what happened, but I had put in for it, and I thought for sure Ryan was going to get it because he's been with the company longer, but they gave it to me. I am making more money, and I don't have to stay as late anymore.
That's great. I can't
And
believe this. All of these miracles happening at once.
You can get this sense from your dad that like he feels like his luck has changed. Like things are going to turn around and you all are going to be able to get yourselves back together again.
That might be good. My dad, it's been hard because he's never around. He's around, but he's never really a dad.
He says as he's milling about the kitchen, pulling out a gallon of milk from the refrigerator and pouring a couple of cups for the boys, he says, "Oh, there's a letter for you on the table."
Oh, gee, I wonder what it is. I gotta run over there.
You instantly recognize when you see this letter your mom's handwriting on the phone.
Oh no. Oof. I almost like don't even want, like I don't want to read it, but like out of spite, but I'm very curious.
You open the letter and there's not much written in it. You've never known your mother to send long letters.
Yeah, of course.
It's addressed to you in kind of looks like a quickly scrawled writing. And it says, "Luna, I wish I had more space and time to write what I'm writing. But an amazing offer is going to come your way. You should take it."
This makes me almost, I think I know what she's, if I'm right about what she's referring to, I almost want to turn it down just to spite her. Like, oof, who is she to tell me what to do? She's never here.
And then as you kind of think this, the paper you're looking at is like college ruled lined paper. A few lines down, it says, and it appears kind of like through the paper. It says, I know you're not thrilled with me, but don't let your feelings toward me keep you from this opportunity.
That was creepy. Did she read my mind? Okay. But this does help a little bit. I don't know, as much as I want to try to avoid talking to my mom, I also do kind of want to please her.
And as you stand in the hallway reading this letter, we pull back and let you think about your next steps. We watch as the house that Luna's standing in grows smaller and smaller. And on the Highway 101, we see that pickup truck that Luna's new acquaintance was driving, headed south. We then move further south ourselves down the coastal highway past San Jose, the Silicon Valley, the farmland of the Central Valley. And we're near the outskirts of Los Angeles. Quickly, we turn coastal and move along the beach, finding our way to focus on a small group of surfers riding the waves of Ventura Beach. Luke, if you would, describe yourself to our audience.
All right. It's a sunny afternoon, just kind of got out of school.
It's evening.
And, sorry?
It's evening. It's
sunset.
Right.
But yeah, just got out of school a couple hours ago. Sun is starting to set, and sitting with my friends on the beach, just kind of relaxing after a couple hours spent out on the waterfront.
The surf is good this evening too, and the golden light of the sunset creates an image that would be right at home on a California postcard. Somewhere further down the beach, a group of local kids have started an illegal campfire and sit around it chatting. Wafting on the wind is the smell of redwood smoke from the fire, and the sound of an acoustic guitar as one of the boys in the group plays Somebody That I Used to Know, singing with a girl in the group. As the waves wash ashore rhythmically, we stop and we focus a little harder on Luke. You've been surfing and you're drying off, and you notice nearby applying some wax to a surfboard is a man. It's the board he's working on is a long board. It's copper in color with an elaborate red dragon airbrushed onto the board. The man takes notice of you, noticing his board. And before he speaks, you notice he looks a little like that guy from Game of Thrones that plays Khal Drago or something like that. He's got all that hair and tattoos. This guy's hairstyle is very similar. His beard's a little the same, but instead of that dark red from the actor, or instead of the dark black that the actor has for his hair, this guy's hair is red, like dark red. And his tattoos are not the kind of island style that the actor from the film has, but something dark bluish, faintly familiar, but you can't recall where you've seen that sort of script. You can't quite place it. And as you kind of stand there looking at him, watching him prep his board to go out, do you say anything?
I'm going to kind of look over at him and speak the first thought that comes to mind, which is, hey, you look like that guy from Game of Thrones.
He says, I get that very often. And he notices you looking at the board and he says, you like the board, boy? I figured you would. It's a red dragon.
That is so sick. How did you even do that?
I had a friend do it up for me. Red dragons, they're known for their ferocity in battle and fiery tempers. Not unlike yourself, I hear.
Wait, how do you know about that? That's
No need to worry, boy. I'm a recruiter for a school up in the mountains. We've been watching you for some time, and I figured meeting you here, it'd be less formal. And then calling you into the office or visiting you at home, it might make you uncomfortable.
Right. A school up in the mountains?
Yeah, recruiting for a school up in Tahoe. We teach students like yourself, those with special skills that might not fit in a more traditional school. I've seen your file, a bit of trouble for scraping and brawling in that business with the rugby team, but exactly the kind of stuff I look for in one of my preferred students. You're a strong boyo with a good head on your shoulders. You'd be perfect for my school.
Look, I don't know, man, because I really don't think that could be me. You said I'm like gifted or something, but that's my grades are like not that good. So
Grades are nothing important to me and what we do at our school. What we're looking for is someone who's strong of character, and you've got that in spades, boy.
Character. Wait, hang on. How do you know about the rugby team?
Aye, that incident with the ball, right? The big throw that got stuck.
Yeah, that's that. It was an accident. Nothing happened.
You know, it happens when you don't know your own strength.
Dude, you're kind of freaking me out. What are you talking about? This is weird.
You know, the school I work for, it's for people who are special in not the traditional sense. But I can't tell you too much. I get ahead of myself. He reaches into a nearby satchel. It's this old, weathered satchel. It looks like it's 100 years old. And he pulls out this solid black business card with a phone number written on it. Solid white on the black. That's all that's written on it. He says, the school's, I think it'd be perfect for you, or you'd be perfect for it. I know you've had a rough go with everything, with getting kicked off the team, and you get a fresh start if you came and joined us.
I mean, do you guys have a rugby team?
We got something better, and I can't tell you about it, but I think, I think you'd be perfect. A big, brawly guy like yourself, you could do wonders.
Right. I'm going to kind of take a look at the business card in my hand, turn it over, see that there's nothing on the back, and then say so what am I supposed to do with this phone number then?
It's simple. If you want to join us, you call the number before noon tomorrow and a car be sent for you. If you want to go with me now, you can, but I got a few waves to catch first.
Wait, so it's either now or tomorrow? That's I mean, I don't know, man. I gotta ask my mom, and there's my little sister and all my friends, and
I get it. It's a big decision. You're making a big choice. And I would expect someone like you to want to talk to his mom about it, but I don't think she's going to not want you to go.
You sound pretty sure of that, man.
In my experience, these things tend to work out. As you're standing there thinking, you notice that he wears a leather bracelet. On it is a simple green crystal. It's kind of forged into the leather with a gold clasp over it. And as you look at it, the sunset must be tricking your eyes, because you can swear that crystal's glowing with golden light, but crystals don't glow.
I'm going to take a look at that and kind of squint at it a little, be like, hey, what's that on your arm, man?
He says, this keeps me looking like I like to look.
Like sunscreen?
Yeah, works a little like sunscreen, but I tell you what, you come to school, I'll explain the bracelets, I'll explain the school. You could take our very simple, I'm sure you'll score well, assessment. When we place you, you join us, you learn, you go do great things that I know you could do.
Dude, you kind of lost me at tests. I've never been able to. I
know. You're going to worry about the test, but the test is not the typical type of test. I can't stress enough. We're looking for a test of character. It's going to test who you are. I see. My advice, for what it's worth, and I know we just met, you lose nothing by testing it. You lose nothing by going and trying out. We send you a car, you go up, you get an afternoon in Tahoe, you take the test, you learn about the school, you don't like it, you come home. You forget about it. The whole thing might as well have been a dream.
Well, I guess when you put really a lot to lose, and I've always wanted to go to Tahoe. That's pretty sick.
Hey, the mountains are beautiful this time of year.
Heck yeah, dude.
As you stand there kind of coming to your decision, he gives you that kind of classic dude nod. He says, I'm going to go surf a few. Make your decision. Go home. Come with me. I'll be back. And he rushes out. And as he runs, you notice that he hits the ground really heavy, like someone who weighs more than he looks like he weighs. And he hits those waves. And for someone as pale and redheaded and clearly some sort of Scottish or Irish, he rides those waves really well. You recognize skill when you see it. And he's out there for about 30 minutes before he comes back. Are you still there?
I think at this point, my friends are kind of packing up to go, and I've kind of tucked away the business card in my surfer shorts. But then I kind of dig him back up, and I kind of look at it for a second, and then I turn back and look at him as he's starting to approach. And there's a million thoughts like racing through my head about like whether or not I should trust this random guy that I kind of just met, or if I should probably talk to someone about it first, because I haven't told any of my friends about this conversation that I just had. Yeah.
So do you want to talk to your friends right now? They're all kind of still packing up. You can see he's kind of starting to paddle in.
I'm going to think about talking to my friends and then kind of shake my head to myself and then put it in my pocket again.
All right. He comes in. You see him take out of that satchel an old towel. It's printed in a gold or copper and red print. Looks like flannel. And he starts wiping the board down nice and dry. He slides it into a very nice, like, cushioned surfboard case. You recognize this as the type of thing that would cost a lot of money. He throws it over his shoulder. He gives you another nod, and it's that nod like, you coming?
I'm going to hesitate for a moment and turn and look back at my friends one more time. And then I'm going to give it a slight nod in return and start walking.
I'm sorry, I looked away. You said you're going to go with him?
Yeah.
Perfect. As you go with him, he says, I think you made the right choice, Boyle. And you both begin to walk towards a solid black town car. And as you approach, you begin to think that there is no way that surfboard is fitting in that car. The board's too long, the car's too small. You've seen people try to do what he's about to do, and you're prepared to laugh at him. Because it's comedic to watch someone without the experience try and force a board too big into a car too small. And the driver gets out of the car. He's in very typical driver outfit, black suit, black tie, black hat. Can't quite make out his facial features. It seems as if every time he moves, a shadow is just perfectly covering his face. And he takes the board from the teacher you've just met, opens the trunk, and easily, without any problem, slides this board right into the trunk and shuts the trunk.
I'm gonna stare at the trunk and then look back at the driver guy and be like, dude, now that is some skill I admire.
And your new teacher friend slaps you on the back and says, let's go for a ride, boy. You want to get some food?
Dude, I'm starving. You have no idea.
Where'd you like to stop?
I'd really like some In-N-Out, to be honest.
Perfect. You both get into the back seat of the car, and the driver the teacher tells the driver, hey, let's stop at the In-N-Out for the boy. Sounds like a good hearty meal. And you pull out of the parking lot, leaving your friends on the beach, in the car, hits the road. You're on Highway 1. It's a beautiful night, and you head out to get your burgers. And that is where we're going to stop for our brief 5-minute bio break before we switch to our next character. Hope you're enjoying this stream. We all need a personal break to refill our water, to do anything else we may need. So our cameras will stay on for our stream purposes, but we may be covering them. We'll be back in about 5 minutes at 6:05. a tall, very skinny man who, while you cannot see his face, seems to be looking right at you as you walk up the driveway.
Did my father send you? Or are you one of my father's friends?
He's inside in the living room. And so as you're saying this, Paul assumes you're talking to him, and he says, I don't know who the guy is. And he walks up and opens the door for you. And you enter into the front hallway. He closes the door and very definitively locks it with a click behind both of you. He removes his jacket and hangs it on a nearby hook, revealing the gun that he carries on his hip. And as you watch him go through his usual routine, you hear your mother from the living room to your right. Oh, that must be her now. Stephanie, honey, can you come in here to the sitting room, dear?
Sure. What do you need?
As you head in, Paul takes up a position in the hallway outside the living room and begins to check his phone, all the while keeping an ear and occasional eye on you. Your mother says, Stephanie, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Tepps. Was it? Did I say that correctly? You watch as the man at the window turns around, and you are very instantly struck by his appearance. He wears a very dark plum suit that at first you thought was actually black. It's in 3 pieces with a dark hunter green patches on the elbows that match his shirt. He wears a tie that weaves both the colors of his aesthetic together in a unique spiraling knot that you've never seen before. You'd be tempted to chuckle a little as his style is reminiscent of the Joker from that Batman movie you saw earlier in the summer, but something about the colors and how he carries himself scares the laughter out of you. That is correct, madam. But please call me Rad, he says as he holds out a long, skeletal hand. He approaches you to shake your hand, and you notice how tall he is. You know Paul is about 6 feet tall, and Rad has to be at least a head taller than him. He's all skin and bones, and his suit is so well tailored to him and his height. He reminds you a little of Jack Skellington. He holds his hand out to you to shake. How do you react?
I shake it. I think he looks kind of cool.
Your mother sits on the couch, her sundress clashing with the floral print of the couch, and she seems to be glowing with pride as she speaks. Rad here is a teacher at a school in California, and he says that they would like to recruit you for their program.
California? Isn't it like really sunny there?
She looks to Rad, and Rad said, Ms. Blackwell, you are being too modest. We would like much more than to recruit her. I believe that she could be a star within our program, but I get ahead of myself. It is customary for any students to have a brief interview with a recruiting teacher in private. You understand, of course. We find that teenagers are reluctant to be their truest selves in front of their parents. You would not mind. You could leave her escort nearby to ensure her safety, of course. As your mother and Rad seem to have a conversation completely ignoring you, how do you react?
I shrink back into the couch. I'm very weirded out by what's happening. I look around and make sure my father isn't anywhere because there's no way he would approve of me talking to people.
You have no sense that your father is home. And your mother seems very taken by this man, almost as if under a spell by him, spellbound, if you will. And she looks a little nervous and she says, well, her father doesn't like to leave her alone. She's so very precious to us. I'm not even sure he'd approve of her going away. Rad, go ahead.
Mother, it's okay.
Rad gives you a sly look like, she gets this. And he says, then this may prove most opportune. You may go and call him, and I can speak briefly to your daughter. I am sure he would approve, as the school would be perfect for her. Your mother hesitates another moment, and she says, well, of course. And she begins to leave and stops. What did you say the name of the school was again? And Rad says, the Lake Tahoe Academy for the Troubled Youth.
Troubled?
Your mother reluctantly moves out to the hall, speaks in hushed tones to Paul, and then you hear her heels click on the tiled floor of the hall, making her way deeper into the house, where you know she will go to call your father from his office phone.
We've got to do this before my dad gets home. There's no way he's going to be cool with this.
As you speak, he holds out a finger, single bony finger, and he speaks a few words in a language that sounds like gibberish, but sends a shiver down your spine as you hear it again for the first time in years. As he finishes, a cold wave of energy passes across the room, and you feel pressure build in your ears like when a plane takes off too fast, and then it pops, and he nods. Oh, that is better. We may speak freely, young Miss Blackwell. Ask your questions.
What did you just do?
A simple enchantment that will allow us to speak without spying ears, as he gestures to Paul.
Did you say enchantment?
Da. This is not new to you.
I guess not.
From what I have heard, you have seen these things before.
I mean, nothing like that. I'm not even sure of what I saw.
No, what you saw was much more, and he searches for a word. How you say, malicious.
Yeah, but I think it was probably just a weird dream. I don't think that actually happened.
My young Miss Blackwell, trust your instincts. They will take you far in this world.
Okay.
I must apologize. Often we have more time with the unique situation with your father. I doubt we will have much more. Our school is for this special gifts that I know you possess, but more than a place that will grow your talents. It would be a place where your very soul would be safe from your father.
I'd love that, but there's no way he'd let me go.
I know you are very aware of your father's true nature and that you know much more than one should. If you come and join us, you would be safe and you could learn how to protect yourself.
I could get away from him?
That is a choice you must make yourself, but it is one I offer you.
Okay.
As you say this, you hear your mother's heels on the tile again in the hallway. This time, though, they sound like they are coming from underwater. Quickly, he reaches into his inner coat and produces a business card. It is stark black against his bone-white flesh, and on it is written a web address in white lettering. Normally, we would give you a telephone number, but in your case, this is safer, given your talents, to share this. If you choose to join us, visit the site before midnight tonight and select yes. Your driver tomorrow will know what to do. If not, no one, your mother, your father, Paul, or yourself, will remember having ever met me or these events. With a wave of his hand, the pressure builds and pops again in your ears as your mother enters in a controlled rage. I think you should leave, Mr. Tips. My husband wants you gone.
Father's here?
No, your father's not here. He's still in D.C., and he's extremely upset that this man has taken advantage of his absence.
You should go. This isn't going to be good for anyone.
Rad rises on your command, not on your mother's. He adjusts his coat and his suit and goes to adjust his tie. As he fixes his cuffs, you notice his shirt has cufflinks. And out of the corner of your eye, you catch that they are silver skulls with green crystal eyes that seem to glow with a golden light. I believe that for the best of all of us, your daughter appears not Academy material after all. And as he says this, you sense the hint that he's lying. He picks up a bowler hat from the table that matches his suit, gives a subtle nod to you hidden by his hat, and puts it on. He walks completely quietly off the carpet in the living room onto the stone, and the only sound you hear is the gentle click of the door as it opens and the click of it again as he shuts it and leaves. The room is deathly silent. You could hear a pin drop. Your mother holds for a few moments as she waits to hear the car's engine start and drive away. The second it starts to pull away, she flips and she's extremely angry. She says, Stephanie, you will not have anything to do with that man or that school. You will go up to your room right now and get ready for bed.
Yes,
There will be
ma'am.
no more talk of this.
I understand.
She leaves you to go upstairs.
I tuck the business card into the sleeve of my shirt so I can bring it up.
Very smooth. When we start rolling, you're going to have inspiration. Your mother pulls out a cell phone, and you can clearly hear her having a conversation with your father. You can't hear his side of it, but the tone in your mother's voice has changed. While she was firm and angry with you, she sounds like a terrified kitten as she speaks to your husband or your father, her husband.
That's not unusual.
As you go upstairs, you find your room exactly how you left it. Describe to us your bedroom.
The walls are that really stereotypical, like, teal blue that teenage girls tend to paint their rooms because my mom didn't approve of me painting it black, unfortunately. There's a computer in the corner on a desk. The desk is a little cluttered. Propped against it, there's a black violin, and my bed clearly hasn't been made in quite a long time.
Wonderful. What do you intend to do as you get into your room?
I close the door and click the lock shut, and I walk up to my computer as I pull out the business card to try and figure out what I'm supposed to do.
The card has a very simple web address on it, and it takes you to, pardon me, it takes you to a website for a gas station.
He must have given me the wrong thing. Cool.
As you look about the site, trying to convince yourself, why did this guy give me the wrong thing? How are you feeling?
Really let down and frustrated.
As you are feeling this emotion very strongly, you're searching the page for any sort of sign. You notice that the logo for this company in the bottom corner, in a place that any other person would completely ignore, matches exactly his cufflinks.
I click it.
You click it and you're taken to a completely solid page of code.
I can read that. I know what that says.
You very much can read that. So you spend a few minutes reading it, and the code gives you some instructions. It states first to pack anything you want to take with you in any suitcases or bags you have, and mark them with a piece of red fabric. Can be any kind of red fabric. And leave them in your closet. They will be brought and arrive in Tahoe for you when you are there. It then states that in the morning, when you get up to leave to go to school, your driver will not be your usual driver. Paul will be sick tomorrow. Your driver will be your usual substitute driver. You are to act like everything is normal and leave with him. He will take you to the airport where you will catch a plane to Sacramento and meet a car that will take you to Tahoe. These are the instructions you receive over the course of the evening using your skills to read and use code.
Okay. I try and look around my room and think of things I'd even want to pack. I really don't want to bring much. I don't want things from this life to follow me to the next one. So I get my bag and I throw my laptop and my violin in. I take a red ribbon off of a teddy bear I had from when I was a little girl and tie it onto the bag.
Perfect. You've done all this. You shut the door to your closet. And as you shut it, you hear, not so much hear, but feel like that sense of static electricity that hangs in the air before a lightning storm. And then it slowly dissipates.
That was weird. I look outside my window and see if there's like any rain or anything.
Outside, the sky is clear. It's a slight gentle orange as just the end of sunset falls on the desert sky.
Okay. I go to bed, I guess. I don't see what else I can do.
As you go to bed, thoughts of this unique situation and evening running through your head. You close your eyes and we pull back from this beautiful Tahoe Ranch House mansion, Utah Ranch House mansion. And we leave Utah with the sun now fully set, the sky black, and we head back north and west up into the Sierra Nevada hills to Lake Tahoe itself, where a local girl begins her usual evening hike. The sun now mostly set, a mountain breeze sweeps in the chilly evening air, and in the forest we find Moon as she crunches along her favorite trail. Moon, describe yourself to us.
I just got into a really big fight with my parents, so I'm going to my favorite spot. So I'm pretty angry at the moment, but I'm going to my favorite spot where I met my best friend who is here with me. This best friend is not your typical best friend. She is curled up around my neck and I'm just having a conversation. I'm kind of ranting. It was your typical, it wasn't like a huge big fight. It was like my dad told me to clean my room and I was like, I'm not going to do that. So I left and I'm angrily ranting.
As you, when you speak to your friend Poison, you speak out loud, and as you communicate with this snake who you can clearly understand, you feel as if you're understanding and interpreting her hisses, almost like it's a second language to you. And after about 30 minutes of hiking and venting, you actually came across the place you're seeking, the place where you first met and found Poison. Usually you would stop here to rest for the next leg of your hike or to vent further, as it's a nice spot in the forest and with a good view of some of the flatlands and downed trees to sit on in the area. However, tonight you come upon a woman in this spot. She has made a small campfire and is sitting on the forest floor, her legs crossed and her eyes closed. She's whispering something to herself that sounds like a chant or a song in a language you don't recognize.
I take a step back because I thought I was the only person who knew where this place was. And I kind of reach towards my side as defense. And I go, "Who are you?"
This woman looks about 30 to you, and she's dressed in hiking shorts, wearing a flannel shirt buttoned up against the chill. Her dark hair is pulled through the back of a baseball cap for a ski resort that you know closed a long time before you were born. There are lots of local urban legends about this resort. And she rises and brushes herself off, holding out a hand, and she says, "I'm Tara. I was just taking a moment to pray up here." And she holds her hand out to you.
I hesitate and I kind of look down at Poison and I'm like, should I trust her? And Poison gives me the go ahead. So I shake her hand.
Perfect. As you shake her hand, you notice that she has a handmade bracelet on her wrist. It looks a lot like the ones you've learned about that the native tribes in the area make. And you learned about this when you were in grade school. You definitely got full support for this connection from Poison. And as you're actually shaking hands, Poison slides down your arm onto hers and up her shoulder. And Tara, this woman who's just introduced herself to you, steps back a little, slightly surprised, and looks at the snake and says, "Well, look at you. I haven't seen one of your kind in these woods in quite some time." "Why, yes, I knew them. Is that true?" And you watch as she has this conversation with Poison, speaking very soothingly in a very caring, almost motherly way. You don't understand this conversation. You don't comprehend what Poison is saying to her. You're only getting Tara's side of this conversation. And Tara says, "I'm so sorry. There Loss will be felt across the mountain. But how have you survived? You are still so very young. And at this, she turns to you and says, is this true? Have you been caring for this creature? With a little bit of an impressed tone.
Yes, I have.
Well, then you must be quite noble and definitely quite special.
No, there's nothing special about me. I was walking the same trail one day, and I was with my girlfriend, and I heard these voices, and my girlfriend thought I was going crazy, and there I saw Poison, and she seemed wounded, so I wanted to help her.
Well, that is exactly how Poison tells the story. But I wonder, and she turns to Poison again and says, do you think? Oh, so you do think so. Well then, and she turns to you and holds her arm out, and Poison slithers down her arm and coils up in her hand as if she's ready for you to take her.
I take Poison, I put her on my shoulder, and I ask her, what was that about?
Well, I teach at a very special school in the area. You may have heard the rumors about it, the Lake Tahoe Academy for Troubled Youth.
I'm definitely not troubled. No, I'm sorry. I'm not interested.
Well, wait. It's much more than that. And if Poison is right, you might be perfect for some of our lessons. And she begins to search her pockets, and she says, oh, did I not bring one? I don't usually carry one when I'm out and about in the forest, but I thought there was a spare. And she's kind of patting around herself, and she reaches into the front pocket of her flannel, and she says, there it is. And she holds out a solid black business card with a phone number written on it. She says, think about it. It's a great school, and I think you would be perfect from what Poison says.
Like I said, I mean, I've heard insane stories about this school, and I don't know. I mean, I'm troubled, but I'm not that troubled,
I know what the locals say about this school. And to tell you a secret, we started most of those rumors. We don't really want people poking around the campus. Some of the things we do there they're a little dangerous, and we'd hate to have a random kid just hike through the forest and get hurt. And I think if you can take such good care of a creature such as this, and she kind of gestures to Poison, and Poison says you're as special as you are, I think you might want to check it out. No commitment. Make your decision. Call the number tomorrow morning if you'd like, and a car will come and pick you up, and you can come and check it out. Think of it like a college tour. You come on campus. We'll tell you a little bit about the school. We'll put you through an assessment to see if you're the right fit for us and we're the right fit for you, and then you can make your decision.
Is it like a public school? Like, is it normal every day, go there, come back, or will I be away from home?
It is a boarding school. Being a local youth, you would be able to see your family and friends more than some of our other students, but you would spend most of your time on campus learning from us and preparing yourself for the heroic future I know that you could have.
Okay, what's your policy on pets?
I don't think you believe Poison to be just a pet, do you?
Definitely not.
I think your companion would be more than welcome on campus.
Okay, I'll look into it.
As you finish speaking to her, she moves to the fire where she was. And as she walks past you, you notice she wears a simple pair of earrings that are green crystal set in golden studs. And while you can't fully believe what you're seeing, they seem to glow with a gentle, warm, golden light. She douses her fire with water and buries it very responsibly before hiking off into the forest, unless you stop her or speak to her.
I kind of look at the earrings I feel I have the sense of I recognize them, but I don't know where I've seen them before.
They definitely look a little bit like something you've seen in somewhere. You're right. You can't place exactly where, but you get that scratch in the back of your head of recognition.
I stop her and ask where she got them.
She turns and says, "Well, I didn't purchase these. You can't purchase an item as unique as this, but they were made for me by another teacher on our campus who has some unique skills. They serve a very specific purpose that I can't explain right now, but should you come tomorrow, we'll gladly explain to you."
All right.
And she continues off into the forest, heading deeper along the path that you usually take.
I kind of stand there for a bit as I watch her walk away. I'm a little stunned because I thought I was the only person who could talk to Poison. And I honestly thought I wasn't really talking to Poison. I thought maybe it was in my head. So I'm kind of sitting there and I look down at my best friend and I think, like, did that really happen? Like at first I really think, oh man, this is just some bad sort of, moment. So I look to Poison for my reassurance.
And Poison reassures you. Poison says, my family has known Tara and her ancestors in this region for a very long time. And while I didn't know my parents long before you saved me, they spoke very highly of her and her people.
I take Poison's word for it because Poison's the only person I've ever trusted.
So where are you intending to go at this point?
I sit down for a bit where my spot typically is and process it. And then when I calm down, I start to head back and I plan to look up the school.
Wonderful. So you spend that time in the space, the kind of residual smoke from the fire that Tara put out lingers. And after a little while, you head back home. And when you arrive home, how do you intend to research the school?
My first reaction is to ask my parents because there's a lot of things that they've kept from me. So I straight up go like, do you know something I don't? Because there's been a lot of unanswered questions happening. So I go up to my mom and I'm like, do you think this could have anything to do with Comet, which is my sister?
Your mom, who doesn't like to speak about your sister at this point, says, I don't know. I know your sister went there, and it didn't change her at all. It made her more her, she says with a little bit of attitude. We thought it would help her.
Yeah, that makes me angry because I'm very protective of my sister. So out of that, I kind of roll my eyes and just walk away from the situation. And I go in my room and I pull out my phone and try to look up the number.
You call the phone number, right? That's what you want to do?
Yes.
You call the phone number and the phone picks up and it's an automated message, very robotic voice. And it says, you have clearly been identified as a potential candidate for our school. If you would like to attend the school, please press 1. If you would like to not attend the school, please press 2 and put your phone down on the floor.
I press 1.
Thank you. A car will be sent to you tomorrow morning at noon.
I hang up the phone and I kind of sit there because it's still unanswered questions. And I kind of sit and think because a lot of my life has been unanswered questions. So I'm not very surprised. So I look at Poison and I kind of just think, is this the right choice? Because even though my parents don't like my sister, and I don't have that great of a relationship with them, if they're speaking so low, like maybe what if my sister isn't all that? Maybe she's like, not as well as I remember. So a little bit of thinking about that, I think, whatever, let's do it. So I start and I get packed. I grab my bag and I grab a few of my dark clothing because I have a lot of just the same black outfits. I grab 1 or 2 of those and I kind of throw it on my bed and I kind of lay down and just wait for tomorrow.
As you lie back down, having packed for tomorrow, Poison comes up, snuggles right next to your head and gives you some snake nuzzles and some little teeny tiny snake kisses, and says reassuringly, I know you're searching for answers. I think tomorrow you shall begin to get some. And you feel like the weight of a wisdom that a snake that so far you could tell shouldn't be more than a year old shouldn't have behind her words. And as Poison reassures Moon, we pull back out and time passes as the evening goes on across the country. And as the sun begins to set again in the morning, we go back to Elia, where there is a peck on his window.
Amelia, not now.
And Amelia squawks at you and continues to peck at your window.
All right. I open the window and I let Amelia in.
Amelia flies in and lands right on your desk next to where the card is that you left it, picks it up and starts like flying it towards your face and away from you, and then around the room and then towards your face and away from you.
What? Fine. Give me the card. All right.
And Amelia sits back down on your desk and just watches you with the card and squawks.
I walk into the other room, assuming that's where my mom is.
Yeah, she's in the kitchen making breakfast like she does.
Hey, Mom. Yesterday, this lady gave me this card, and she said I hand her the card, and she said that I'm special and should go to some school.
As you say this, she says, "Was that Jade lady?"
Yeah, you know her?
Well, she came over here looking for you. I said you were probably out somewhere with your friends.
Oh, okay. Well, she said that I can attend this school for free. Do you think I should go? Do you need any help here?
Your mom kind of beams at you for a second. She says, "You're so sweet to think of me, Elia. You do so much of that for us. But everything that this lady said about that school, it could set you up for life. You could get out of this situation that we've been stuck in. It could do good things for you and for this family."
You're right. Okay, I'll do it. Let me go tell Arthur first. And then I walk over to Arthur's room.
Go into your brother's room. He's sitting there and he's reading a book. This is a big book. Elia, what book is he reading?
He's reading. He's reading like what's it called? I can't think of anything right now. I'm sorry.
Like the complete works of William Shakespeare, Origin of the Species, big like.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of Origin of the Species. Thank you.
So he's reading Origin of the Species as you walk in. He's 9, right? You said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hey, can you close the book?
And kind of with a huff of like you're interrupting my reading, he puts a bookmark in the book, and it's clearly like a leaf that he's been keeping forever, and you have no idea where he got it or why it's important, but he sticks it in the book and he folds it and he puts it on his lap and he keeps his hand on it like, I'm waiting, his thumb gently tapping.
Listen, I'm going to go to this school across the country in California, and I just wanted to let you know before I go and before I make the call. I don't know when I'll be back, but I figured that you should know.
How do you expect him to react?
He'll probably be like, and then just like maybe be like, that's all.
He goes, well, is it a good school?
Apparently I'm special enough to go there. They're looking for some gifted people. So hey, it's for free too, so may as well. Maybe I'll come back and get a, some good job and help support the family.
He says, you should go and then set it up so I can go when I'm old enough.
Sure, I'll put in a good word for you. Not that you'll need it.
He says, awesome, Malaya. Go. Do good.
Thanks, bud.
And he goes to open his book up, but then he stops himself and says, are you done? And it's not like rude, are you done? But like, I want to read my book. Are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
He goes, all right, have a good day. And he opens his book up and he's reading Origin of the Species. Do you call the number?
Yes. I pull out my super old Nokia flip phone and I'm like, and I dial the number. I'm in the same room as my mom just to be there for like comfort. And I'm like, I dial it up.
You dial it, and the same kind of robotic voice that Moon heard comes on, and it says, you have been selected as a potential candidate for our academy. If you'd like to attend, press 1. If you would not, press 2 and put your phone on the ground.
1.
Wonderful. A car will be sent for you at noon. Wait. And you hear the sound of like calculations happening on your phone. A car will be sent for you in 20 minutes.
Okay. Will it just be outside my house?
And the automated recording, you can hear again making that electrical clicking sound, says the car will arrive outside your house in 20 minutes. The driver will have your flight itinerary to land at Sacramento, be picked up by a vehicle, be driven to Tahoe.
Is it first class?
There is no response.
Okay.
You hear a click and the line goes dead.
Oh, well. Well, I better start packing, Mom. Apparently they're coming in 20 minutes. So can you help me?
Your mother and you very quickly pack whatever you need. And about 19 minutes later, almost exactly on the 20-minute dot, you hear a honk out in front of your house.
Oh, there it is. I give my mom a big hug and I go, goodbye, Mom. And then she gives me a kiss on the cheek. And then I yell, bye, Arthur. And then I walk out of my room.
As you're walking out, Arthur, you hear the giant book in his room hit the ground and he comes running out and he gives you a big hug and he says, good luck, Alaya. And then he kind of just trudges away like there's nothing cute or emotional about what he did.
Yeah. Okay. And then I walk out of the door to the taxi, I'm assuming.
It is a town car, solid black, blacked out windows. A tallish gentleman gets out, black suit, black tie, white shirt, black driver's cap. And as he moves, the cap seems to constantly cast a dark shadow, and you can only kind of see from his kind of lips down. And even that's not very clear. He takes your bags from you, puts them in the trunk, and opens the back passenger side door for you.
I get in silently.
He says, we should be in the airport in about 15 minutes. Shuts the door, gets in, and starts driving. And you are off to the airport where you hop your plane to Sacramento and will land in a few hours' time. We then move let me check my notes. I lost them. They're on another page. We then move from Alaya back across the country to a quiet San Francisco home where Zamora is just getting up for the day. Zamora, what are you thinking this morning as you wake up?
I hate life. I hate everything. Why does this have to happen to me of all people? But at the same time, I feel guilty for how I treated Ray because she's been here for me since day one, and I was kind of being really rude to her.
So as you're feeling this, normally in the morning at about this time, you would get a knock on your door, but you've had these sort of arguments with Ray before, and she knows that at this point you have to come to her. So there is no knock this morning. There's no time to get up and go to school. There's a respectful distance kind of in the entire house. The kids are not up yet. It's a little early because you tend to get up before everyone so you can get yourself ready. What do you do this morning?
I look around my room and kind of take a glance to see, like, is this real life? And then I go to the bathroom, I brush my teeth, I wash my face, and then I head over to the youngest girl's room. Her name's Gracie, and I knock on her door to see if she's wake her up.
You knock on the door, and she says, "Yeah, come in." And the door opens, and she's sitting there, and she's actually holding your letter. And she says, "Z, are you going to go to this school?" And she's like super excited for you.
I don't know, Gracie. What do you think?
Z, you could get out. You could go to this amazing school. Why would you even stay?
Not everything in the world is as good as you want it to be.
And then, in a moment of pure wisdom beyond her years, she looks at you and says, "Well, how would you know if you didn't even go?"
Shut up. Go to bed.
She holds it out to you.
Turn
Like,
around.
we've had this conversation before, and she knows that shut up is you not admitting that she might be right, and starts getting herself ready for the day. Very proud of herself.
Yeah. I give her a hug as I leave her room, and then I walk over to wherever Ray is in the house.
Ray's busy making breakfast. It's bowls of cereal for everyone kind of lined up, and she's pouring the cereal and pouring the milk and getting it ready, and she's got a cup of coffee that she's kind of chugging as she's doing it.
Okay. As she's pouring the milk in the cereal, I take the milk from her and continue down the assembly line of milk pouring, and I say, I was doing some thinking last night. I think I may want to go to this school. Not because I want to, but because you want me to, and I don't want to let you down.
She takes a moment and she stops and she looks at you and she gives you kind of a side hug and says, "I'm glad you made that choice." And then
Whatever.
as you say that, she holds you a little tighter and says, "You don't always have to be so tough, I'm really proud of you."
Thank you. I let my guard down and say thank you, like truly, genuinely mean it, because I don't hear that a lot.
And as she sees you do this, she knows the importance of this moment and how hard it is for you to do. And she accepts it. And then she gives you a nudge and says, "Well, you better get upstairs and pack then, kid."
Okay, so I run upstairs and I start packing. And as I'm packing, I remember in a shoebox that I have under my bed, there's a lot of money that I've borrowed over the years, accumulated, waiting for Christmas so I could get the girl something nice. I bought the box. There's about like $4,000 in there, just borrowing money. And I walk over to the living room and I ask Ray if she can call the girls into the living room.
As you're doing this, you hear a horn honk outside. And Ray looks at you with a knowing look and says, "I knew you'd change your mind. You should get going. You're going to be late."
Okay, I give the money to Ray and I say, "Can you give this to the girls for me? I'm only going to this school because you want me to, and I know I'm not going to enjoy it, but whatever you want."
She smirks at you as you put your tough facade back on, and she says, "Just go do your best, Z."
Thank you. I do our little handshake because we have a secret handshake because we're that cool. And then I walk out the door. But as I'm walking out the door, I put back on my like stone cold facade, like too cool for everyone.
At the bottom of the steps of your house, there is a black town car. The trunk is already open, waiting for you. And there's a man standing in a black suit with a black tie and a white shirt holding the door open for you. He says nothing.
I give him a dirty look, and then I go put my stuff in the trunk, and I go inside the car, and then I just slam the door shut. I don't look at him, I don't talk to him, or acknowledge him other than the dirty look.
As the door slams shut, you hear the back of the car shut. He gets in the front door. You hear that door shut, and the car takes off, headed towards Lake Tahoe. And we move very quickly over to Luna, who has woken up in the morning. Has she made her decision?
Yes.
And what is the decision she has made?
I want to go to this school. I mean, there's nothing really holding me back anymore. And I mean, if that lady's going to be there, I've always wanted to do more. I mean, I love being in this city and protesting, but I want to get out there and I want to do more.
As you wake up excited for this, you hear downstairs a level of noise and excitement that you don't expect this early in the morning. And in addition to that, it has a very kind of Christmas morning vibe. And you go down and your father has made slightly burnt pancakes for the entire family. Your little brothers have made a like good luck Luna sign, and they're all very excited for you. And you have just enough time to kind of quickly scarf down this breakfast and give everyone hugs. And as you're saying your final goodbyes, you hear that honk, beep, beep, from outside.
Oh man, okay. This is a lot. I can't believe my family did this, man. I kind of say my last goodbyes and I kind of run out.
And as you're running out, your father's yelling out, "Luna, don't forget your bags." And he's grabbed them and he's following you out.
Oh,
and
crap.
the boys are following behind him. And the entire family seeing you out, putting your stuff in the trunk. And this car is solid black town car. The trunk has already been opened. And as your family and you come running out, the driver in his black jacket, black tie, white shirt, opens the passenger side door and then walks around without making any contact with you or your father and your family, gets into his car and shuts the door.
Oh, okay. That was weird, but I kind of just get in.
Wonderful. You get in, the door shuts, you shut the door behind you, the trunk closes, and you begin to head out toward Tahoe. We now shift over to Luke, who has spent the evening in transition. And you drive actually out to Tahoe with your new teacher friend, who spends most of the time working on a tablet. And what he's working on, you can't understand. It's written in some sort of foreign language. The letters all look a little backwards to you, and unlike any letters you've ever seen before. He's very engrossed in this work. And you're respectful of the fact that he does this. And about 4 hours into the drive, you stop at a very swanky hotel. And he pulls a card key out of the side pocket of the car and hands it to you and says, "This is your room." And you go up, and the room is very plush, very nice, the nicest room you've ever stayed in. And it's all yours by yourself. There is a shirt laid out for you, and it has the logo of the Lake Tahoe Academy for Troubled Youth, which we will see later. And it's a t-shirt. There's also a little like gym bag with a few things in it, including some like toothpaste and a toothbrush and other stuff. And there's a menu from like room service of anything you may need to order food wise or clothing wise, and a note that simply says, "Order what you need. Don't worry about the cost." Is there anything specifically that Luke orders?
Lou?
I think I'm gonna take a look at the menu, and the In-N-Out was like a couple hours ago, but my hunger catches up pretty quickly to me. So I'm gonna order like every single dessert on the menu.
You do that and you gorge yourself on dessert and you pass out having had this delicious meal. In the morning, you get up and you follow your new teacher into the car, and you actually are just about an hour's drive from the school. We're kind of catching everyone up at this point. And because of time, we're going to quickly now shift over to Stevie. It is now the morning, and you go through your normal routine. You go to meet your driver at the front door, and oh, look, Paul's not there. It's actually Andrew. And Andrew is Paul's normal replacement. And Andrew gives you a look that only you see because mom's somewhere off in the house, and says, "Are you ready, Ms. Blackwell?"
Yeah, I guess.
Wonderful. Shall we start our adventure?
Yeah. And as I get in the car, I pull out my phone and I open Tumblr and I make a quick post that's like, "Hey guys, going offline for a while. You can hit me up with my number if you know me. Love you guys. Rar."
And you ride in the car to the Salt Lake City airport, where you fly to Sacramento to meet the next leg of your trip. And finally, to wrap us up, we land with Moon, whose car is awaiting her in the morning. As your alarm goes off, what do you do?
This set alarm is poison.
Yes, it is. It wakes you up.
Poison wakes me up, and I grab my bags and kind of start to head out the door. And my parents are like, "Where are you going? It's late." Like I slept in basically. And I was like, "Oh, I'm going to school. Sorry." Like I don't tell them at all. And I kind of go on like it's going to be a normal school day.
And unlike a normal school day, there's a black town car waiting for you with its door open. No driver that you can see. The back gate is open. You drop your bags in it, and you and Poison climb into the back seat to head on the shortest ride of everyone to the campus itself. And that is all our time for this week. Thank you, everyone who's been joining us this evening. If you enjoyed our game tonight, please tune in next week at the same time when our 6 adventurers will arrive at this mysterious school that they have been invited to. What secrets will the school hold? And who are these mysterious people seeking out these students? Tune in next week to find out on another adventure of Argonauts Awoken.